Welcome to AHRK Encounter. I'm your host, Melanie, and I'll be joining you along the AHRK path. We'll be continuing our discussion on stewardship of time, wealth, and energy. I'm excited to see how we utilize these resources to redirect our path and lead us to a better future. Our guide today, Casey Cox, will be exploring the AHRK path lens of leadership. We may encounter a special VIP. Now let's take a quick look at the AHRK Encounter lenses.
AHRK is the lifestyle path to better choices. It empowers us to live life to the fullest and paves the way for people like you and me to discover our unique purpose and passion. Choosing to walk the AHRK path invites transformation and growth in 5 key areas of life: leadership, communication, mindset, community, and lifestyle. As we dive into these lenses, they redirect our focus and guide us into a deeper understanding of where we're at today and where we're going tomorrow. This is AHRK Encounter.
Well, today is a great day to have an AHRK Encounter, and I get to be your guide. My name's Casey, and I am always walking along the AHRK path because I have found that it leads to success, celebration, and full abundance in this world. And that's why we are going to address these topics today, because I'm going to invite you to that kind of experience. We're going to look at leadership today. And most people assume that leaders, they're born. It's like they had a special gift and they got set apart early on, and then it was just easy for them. Well, I'm here to tell you that leadership is not that. Leadership is not about attaining a position. Leadership is not about being born into the right place. Leadership is a choice. Leadership is an art and it's an act. And when I say act, what I mean is it's an action. And our guest today is always in action. And why we brought her in today is because she embodies leadership and stewardship. Stewardship of time, energy, and wealth. And we recognize that we're going to bring those things together and demonstrate for you the opportunity that in your life, you could grow your leadership while you grow your experience of time, energy, and wealth. But it's not going to happen without an AHRK Encounter. So I'm here to introduce you to my very special guest today, Lori Alvarez. Lori, say hi to our guests.
Hello, everyone. Casey, thank you.
Oh, it's so good to be together. You may not know this. Well, you don't know this because I haven't said it yet. Lori and I are neighbors. We just live down the street from each other, and we both love to throw parties. So we're going to get you on this AHRK path today to Kingdom, where the party is always going on. Before we go there, I want to introduce you to my friend and my neighbor who is a VIP. In fact, Lori is truly unarguable. What she says, people don't argue with her because she speaks from truth. Lori's unshakable. Wherever she goes, she stands firm in her convictions and she lives out her understanding of, look, I'm a leader and this is what I do. And she's undeniable. She makes an impact and she brings forth the world to be a better place. So Lori, I'm going to introduce you to share that through the VIP lens.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. So let's break it down, make it simple. One question at a time.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Lori, share with us your values. What are things that they're just deep inside of you, and no matter who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, that value comes back out?
I love that question because we've done a lot, and I say we, I refer to my family and I, right? We've done a lot of research around that, specifically for us, because I don't think people just know what their values are. They are like kind of just walking the world and like, hey, I'm doing my thing and this is how I feel today, and living their life that way. And I realized about 3 or 4 years ago, like there's more intentional way of doing life.
Amen. Tell me more about that.
That is through your values.
And so what are some of those values?
So my personal values are faith, adventure, and family legacy.
Faith, adventure, family legacy. To me, I'm already in.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You're bought in, 100%.
What I want to share with you is there's a word that Lori said in here. She shared her values was research. And what I was introducing is that leadership is a choice. And so it's not just whatever I want. You actually get a choice to become a leader. You get to choose your values. And so as Lori chose her values, they expressed an identity that kind of showed up all throughout our city.
Yeah.
Lori, talk to me about identity. How do you show up consistently?
Well, we're a family and everything we do is a family experience. So most people know us as the Alvarez family. We show up together, we do work together, we make a difference together, and we walk away having everyone else around us feel better. That's our one goal and intention.
So as you talk, I mean, I know when you talk about as a family, you do work together, you employ your family.
I do.
You sometimes drive your family.
And I unemploy them
and you
too.
employ them. Stewardship is important. You got to know who you're going to hire. So tell me a little bit about, what do you mean by you employ your family? How does your family work together?
Sure. So I'm Lori Alvarez with Lori Alvarez and team. We're a local real estate company here. We like to say we are family. We are a family serving other families. That's what we do. We move families forward in their real estate desires, their desire to build whatever it is within their real estate portfolio. We also stay with them. We're the family realtor per se, right? How cheesy, and yet we are. We support our families beyond the transaction. We walk through them. We stay with them. We're aware of their life circumstances, especially during COVID. You know, as you're aware, like people needed to still be together and didn't know how to do that with it. So this allowed for us to be able to do that because I already knew how. So I was like, you just stay connected.
The VIP, it establishes that you have some values.
Yes.
And those values consistently get expressed and it develops an identity. But there's something even beyond your identity. It's this purpose. It's a recognition that you have a job, you sell homes, you do it for lifelong with people. Purpose is a little bit even deeper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull you along that journey. How does that come out for you as purpose?
Well, that's where the family legacy comes in, right? My core values, going back to the core values of that, the family legacy. I could have just said we wanted our legacy or we wanted to leave a legacy, but we want to leave what is our family legacy. We want to leave people in a better place when we interact with them as a family. I have 4 sons. And so my 4 sons, a couple of them have decided they're working with me for the rest of their lives.
Smart boys.
So with that said, they've made that choice. You have to make sure you're moving your business forward in such a way that when mama decides she's not going to jump out of bed and hustle and sell some real estate, they can carry it on, right?
And you're seeing how... And this is really why I invited you in today to say, look, Lori, you are a leader of leaders.
Thank you.
And you recognize that you can build into people's lives, just like you're personally building into your son's lives where they choose to say, how do I do this? You build into the lives of the community around you. And you heard Lori say, it was just 3 or 4 years ago that she really started saying, I want to really invest in my values. So if you're at home today going, I have no idea what my values are, you're not very far behind. And the AHRK encounter is what brings that alive. Lori is obviously a VIP. Well, that's because of what she's chosen. And yet today is the first day that Lori's going to encounter an AHRK experience, right, Lori?
Yeah.
She sat down and said, okay, what's this AG thing, what the acronym thing? Because she's busy working.
Yeah.
And I said, don't worry about it. You're already living along the AHRK path.
Yeah.
So the AHRK encounter invites you to acknowledge, heal, restore, and have a kingdom encounter. And so we're going to begin with the acknowledgement here. As we acknowledge, what we're doing is we're saying, what's real? What's not so real? What's present? What am I just feeling and it's not happening? Or what's going on upstairs? Acknowledge where you're at. Acknowledge what you want to happen, but acknowledge where you're at in this moment. So Lori, talk to me a little bit about leadership and stewardship, however it comes back out of you. What are trends? What are you seeing? Is leadership going down? Is leadership rising up? If you want to look through the lens and the topic of stewardship, is it more important today? Is it harder today? Well, how do we acknowledge stewardship through a lens of leadership?
Those are like very good, deep questions, right? And way beyond this conversation right here, in all honesty. Here's the deal with leadership. My personal observation is most most don't know how to lead in such a way that allows for people to become their best selves, right? You have to really learn.
Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a best version of every person?
110%. That's what we were created to be.
And because you believe that there's a best version of every person, leadership invites that.
Yes.
So how do you come alongside and awaken that in somebody else?
Well, I think it's us sharing our own personal story, our own personal testimony, right? Where we were 20 years ago. If you're still in that same space, it says you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then we all know what happens, right? You become stagnant, and it's not the healthiest of things for you. When you're moving forward every day, even if it's a bit, or you maybe end up 3 steps back and yet move forward again, you're growing. One of the best things that I ever heard, because I am one of those people that's out there always moving and shaking, causing challenges. I love challenges. I live for challenges. Adventure was one of my core values, right? Well, I used to think that was such a burden. And I used to think like, oh my gosh, I make people feel, one of your questions, I make people feel like uncomfortable. And one of my brokers shared with me, which really spoke to my heart, is he said, Lori, I love when you come in here with your challenges. And I'm like, why? I feel like I'm a burden to you. I feel like it's like, oh no, here she goes again.
Here comes Lori.
We got another problem. And he was like, no, I love it because it means that you're out there moving forward. You're figuring things out, because you will not grow in who you are to become the best version of who you were meant to be until you go through the valleys of challenges.
There you go.
The hard times.
And Lori, you're here on purpose.
Thank you.
We've acknowledged, and Lori just set us up to move into healing about going through a valley. And really, that's what the AHRK encounter is at, is where you acknowledge, hey, sometimes things are challenging. And Lori was just sharing with us that she had something playing upstairs in her head about how she was coming in a room. But it wasn't until somebody else gave her some feedback and said, no, that's the best thing. I need that. We need to learn how to heal. And healing is releasing the things that don't serve us. And sometimes our thoughts up here are not serving us. And leaders choose to take their thoughts captive. Because when you stand up in front of people, accusation comes at you, challenge comes at you, and these thoughts are not always serving you. So as a leader, Lori, you have to heal.
Yes.
You have to release what doesn't work. You have to take on what does work.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've released beyond, just everyday experience that you've just said, you know what? I'm not going to get caught up in that. It slows me down.
Here's the reality. Your thoughts do matter, right? Your thoughts will impact what happens in your heart, and what happens in your heart will come out of your mouth. That's just what happens, right? That's just the way life is. And so you have to then choose to make sure that the thoughts you're having are appropriate so that it allows for you to be set up to be your best self. And that comes with the environment that you've surrounded yourself with. Right? You put yourself with amazing people who think differently, think bigger, think wildly crazy, like Casey does. He does 110%. And you allow yourself to be around people and in experiences and have adventures that give you permission to be authentically true to who you are in that moment, and be okay with the failure that may come from it.
So we don't have to fear failure.
Oh gosh, no.
And maybe that's a place where you're at today going, I couldn't go sit where Lori's sitting. I mean, I couldn't be on camera. And you know what? I didn't necessarily want to be here either, but I said, I can try. I can see how it works. But I encountered a fear that came up, and then I just said, that fear's not serving me. It's not helping me, and I release it. And that's a lot of times what holds people back, is they just get stuck. And as leaders, we come along. Now let's tie it to stewardship a little bit. Have you ever been in a place where you had to risk some time, some energy, or some wealth, and yet you had to say, you know what, I'm going to risk it because there's a bigger reward?
That's a great question. And I'm going to relate this back to my current real estate experience that I just did. I am a big believer in investing in real estate. Not only do I help families move, but I also build my own real estate portfolio. And I'm one of those people that's all in. I'm like, I'm going in and I'm going to do it. And my husband, he's the more reasonable one that says, hey, babe, maybe we're not like going to need to give all our money to this. Maybe we can keep just a little bit back just in case. No.
Smart guy? No.
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 Not Lori.
Not Lori.
That's why the good Lord gave me him. So with that said, I was so excited. We did buy another investment property this past year. And I will tell you that that's been the greatest blessing for me, because as you hear me on Facebook all the time, I'm talking about the housing crisis and the lack of people being able to find a home to live in, whether it's buying or renting, irregardless. And so the fact that I was able to purchase a property, our family was able to purchase a property, renovate it, bring it to a condition, and my heart just mourned while it was empty for 60 days. Like I was like, it needs a family, it needs a heartbeat inside it. It needs its love. I worried and I was concerned for it. And when we placed the family in it that we were able to place in it, it was such it was just peace. It was a beautiful experience.
It really takes us back to your VIP. You went on an adventure.
Yes.
You brought your family with you.
Yes.
You put your faith out there to believe that this was possible.
Yes.
And
wiped out the bank account.
You wiped out the bank account.
I don't encourage that.
But she lives as a leader and puts the risk out there. And it modeled for you a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
You made a difference in somebody's life. And what Lori just demonstrated for us is what we call restoration. The healing is releasing the fear or the emotions that aren't serving you. And as a leader, we have to contend with that. And as a steward, part of what we're looking at is the fact that you don't own your money. I mean, you may think you own your money, but you know what? If you just sit on it and squander it, it disappears. And time, you get 24 hours a day, no matter who you are. You don't own time. And energy, it's a constant. You can't create it, but you can waste it. Yeah. So how are we going to move this into a restorative element? We're going to move. We're going to move in action. And so, Lori, it didn't happen overnight. Who came along and mentored you, modeled for you, encouraged you? Where did that restoration idea that you could be better, where did that come in?
Well, that would originally go back to when I found Jesus.
Amen.
That truly was that in that moment, just because his word shares that. His word says, you are created in my image and you are created to be so much more. That started the healing process.
Wow.
Right? It just started it. Then other things in my life happened. I came across Keller Williams, that is a God family business company. And so when I came across that, everything that Gary Keller shares with us and mentors us and trains us in our mindset to be and to do and to have and to give was just beautiful. It aligned with who I wanted to be.
You talk of Gary on a first name basis as if he impacted you.
Oh gosh, yes.
And that's really what I'm looking at here is we're impacted in the restoration process and we're inspired in the restoration process.
Yes.
Who are you impacting today?
I believe my children. Yes. I believe my children are my greatest impact now. And the team that works for me, I have my buyer's agents and I have my social media team that's part of it. And then above and beyond that, I do believe that my truth is I make a difference with every little moment we move forward in the world, right? I could hang out in the house and just do me and not share me forward. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can do that, but on your social media platforms, which I'm a ton of social media, right? You decide.
You can watch Lori TikTok.
Yeah.
She dances. She sings.
All of it. And
She's
it's
all
always
out there. She's having a good time.
It's always educational. Anyways, you can decide to use that for good or bad.
Yes.
To move people forward and to help people and to educate people. And that can be exhausting because we are those people.
Yes, we are.
We want to help people move forward and improve who they are and become something more. And the only way I know when I'm impacting someone is when I pick up the phone and I reach out to people and I go, hey, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, Lori, that last video you did really helped me move forward for this reason. Or when I get a text message from someone. So in my community, I'm making a difference. I do know that.
So I'm going to ask you a real estate question. Lori, I want to invest, but I can't afford it. What should I do?
Oh, you need to talk to a great realtor so that we can sit down and get you on the path to home ownership.
Did you see what Lori just did there? She didn't take my excuse and allow me to sit there. She moved me into an outcome to say, move you forward, get into action. And as we talk about stewardship today, you may be counting pennies, but if you got pennies to count, you got something to move on. Mm-hmm. Okay, no matter where you're at with time, energy, and wealth, the starting point is now. Mm-hmm. And on an AHRK encounter, it's not about excuse, it's about outcome. It's about moving forward and taking ownership for your life, because there is a kingdom experience for you. There's a kingdom experience for me and for Lori and for every single one of us. And where that kingdom experience comes alive is where you step into your VIP. You become unshakable, undeniable, unarguable, and you just go, wait a minute. I am the best version of me. There is nobody other than me that can be me. Lori, would you say that's true about you?
I would. And I would add to that as well, that today you are the best version of you today. And tomorrow you're going to be even better. And the next day after that, you're going to be even better. So don't ever doubt who you are today, because it is turning you into where you're going to go in the future.
You see what just happened here? Lori just took everything and ran with it. That's why she's here today. And it's why you're here today, because you're looking for something that's going to work. And Lori works.
Oh, yeah.
And I work. And we work according to an AHRK path. We simply take an acknowledgement of where we're at and where do we want to be. And then there's a process in between. We release the things that don't work. That's healing. We take in the things that do work. And then we step into that path and we celebrate. Lori, do you celebrate?
Every day.
Take me to one of your favorite parties. Like literally, like in your mind, when was the last time you had a party that you're like, that was off the hook?
Oh, we loved our Halloween party. That one was a blast just because everyone got to show up. I mean, I know we're all faith-filled, right? And Halloween's this demonic whatever, right? And you can bring joy to that. And we did. Mm-hmm. And that was probably like one of the greatest ones recently that we had, because it was just fun to see everyone feel comfortable to show up and be who they wanted to be that day, to celebrate it and to play with it and experience it.
And Lori, when you throw a party, how much do you charge everybody to show up?
Oh gosh, nothing.
Nothing, do you?
No.
And yet when you throw a party, what do you hold back?
Nothing.
Nothing. I knew the answer was coming.
My husband would say, we feed you too much.
You feed you too much. The music is too loud. The party goes on too long. Yeah, well, I'm the neighbor. I can hear when she's having a party. Here's why I highlight that. People who are on the AHRK encounter, they walk this path, they celebrate. They have parties. When you know your VIP, as a leader, you can't help but to invite people to celebrate who they are, because you're celebrating who you are. So I'm inviting you today. Choose to walk the AHRK path. Have an AHRK encounter. Here's how I know it's working for you. You're celebrating a little bit more. You're taking deeper breaths. You're recognizing, I have a purpose in the world. You found that purpose because your identity started becoming consistent based on some values that really mattered to you. Lori Alvarez, thank you for joining us on an AHRK encounter. Today we address some stewardship through the lens of leadership, and I trust that you got something that's going to change your world. Thanks for watching. We look forward to hearing you give some feedback, and Melanie's going to share with you how to do that now.
Something that resonated with me so much from hearing today's seminar is that leadership invites the best version of every person. If you like what you heard today, you can check out our website at www.arcpath.com, What are you waiting for? Follow us on social media at AHRK. We have a podcast featuring the talented Bernard Bashir and Casey Cox, and you can check out the Circles Now app for more course packages launching soon. Thank you for tuning in to AHRK Encounter, and we'll see you tomorrow.